Making a video response to the modern mystic. Yeah, it'd be nice if we could have a conversation, but we really can't. We're always talking past each other thing, and it's irritating. I don't know what else to do. I don't know what this. Nothing really you can do about it. So anyway, let's just play some of this, I guess, and we'll get to the points in the video somewhere, perhaps, and I'll just make some kind of general point that all we can do is say, okay, here's the identify problems, propose solutions, and just have some sort of conversation about either one of those things, right? Either you're identifying the problem wrong, or you have chosen a unworkable solution. But you have to make arguments. You can't just say it's nonsense. You can, but sorry, it's not an effective mind changer.
Video. Start with Gary, who's made 2 videos referencing me. One.
Yeah, mostly because your videos weren't very good. So I mean, I would have liked to have responded to them, but I couldn't even make any sense out of the kilowatt coin hour thing, and whatever the one before that was. Oh yeah, it was just general. Yeah, but I wanted to make the video about the economy anyway. I mean, the context is you do have your website, okay, and you do say things in the website, and over time you have a general, one can glean a general impression. And, that's what I have, a general impression. I mean, I'm not distorting it, I'm expressing my general impression. It's my general impression. It's not somebody else's general impression.
Included things that were like mystic says, mystic thinks, what mystic means is.
Right, and you just do the same thing in this video to what I say. So, yeah, that's part of how they play the game, right? I'm not gonna, I can't really make your entire argument or do your entire video. I have to cut it down to some sort of point and put in a category and say, okay, it's sort of in this category, and that's why I think it's wrong. It's because it's got this feature and it's got this feature, and I don't think those are good features, or they're wrong premises, so let's not bother with that because it's not premised properly. What's wrong with doing that?
Which is just plain common to God and annoying for any decent thinking person.
Yeah, whatever. Decent thinking person. Yeah, what is that anyway? Who's doing that on the internet? You have one of those you could point me to? I'd like to see a decent thinking person. yeah, that's actually thinking something reasonable. Yeah, point me to one of those.
In between there was a comment saying that all people are arseholes.
Well, that really wasn't what the comment said. What the comment says is you were going to talk about educating people, or sharing your knowledge. You've acquired some, you want to share it, help people out. And I think the biggest thing, the thing that could help people the most, is to recognize that they're obnoxiously arrogant, insensitive, cruel, unappreciative motherfuckers. That they have no clue what the hell they're caught up in. That they're caught up in this evolution thing where every breath they take has been made out of sentient organisms being horrifically expired. 9/11'd all over the place. Holocausted all over the place. That's the price of their fucking existence. That right now they live probably in a luxury built out of other people having to work 80 hours a week and have absolutely no life at all. And they just don't seem to be very aware of any of that. And yeah, that kind of makes them assholes. And they probably should be informed that they suck.
And then a video which I haven't watched, but...
Brilliant! Yeah, there's nothing I like better than the people who comment on my videos who didn't watch it. Great.
From the title.
That's not jobby at all.
I think it's going to be a...
Oh, judge it based on the title. Okay, even better. So what is this preachy crap, what thinking people do, or what thinking people should expect, or how thinking people react? What's a thinking person to do with somebody who says, I didn't watch the video, but from the title, I say it sucks? Wow.
Rehashing of his no waste and what.
Yeah, his. Like, talking to him like he's a third person or something, or... Yeah, so you're just doing the same thing. You're just putting me in a category, putting my ideas in a category, just like I put your ideas in a category. So why pretend you're doing something different than I'm doing when you're not? I mean, it's just bullshit. I call bullshit.
We need his efficiency and all that. Which brings me to the thing of prescriptive. Gary, of course, would be very prescriptive here. Big companies like Google would have to be blown up. And
yeah, no, that wasn't the argument made. The argument made was, let's create competition and drive them out of business. Yeah, let's have a We the People corporation and drive these fake and phony corporations out of fucking business. Google is a damn marketing company, okay? It sells advertising. It's not even indexing the fucking internet. It's obviously not even indexing the comment sections on your videos. It's not indexing the videos we're making. Alright? It's totally incompetent as a search engine, and if there was some sort of non-commercial alternative, which Google was supposed to be when it was created in Stanford University, those motherfuckers, using public money, you know, I mean, you know, they... So, but anyway, yeah, don't watch the video and then tell me what I said in the video. Great. And get it wrong, of course. That's what thinking people do. Great.
and he would tell people how they should run companies, what...
No, I'd say we know how companies are run. You have thing called management, and you have workers. Yeah, you have two things. You have the guys doing the work, and you have the guys who manage the guys who do the work. And if all you have to do is figure out how do you get a good manager. And good managers aren't, oh, that guy's connected to a lot of politicians and can get graft. But that's what CEOs are now, right? CEOs are selected not because of anything other than their connections. Right? Right.
Amounts people should be paid and what they're going to do, and this sort of prescriptive thing.
Yeah, well, again, so, yeah, wasn't in the video, so lie some more. Yeah, people would be paid fair wages, and they'd have incentive to do better, and but they wouldn't own the company, and there wouldn't be any benefits or any other perks. They'd just get paid to do their damn job, and that would be the business model. Wow. Now you could counter-argue how that's intrinsically or fundamentally doomed to failure, or you could argue that somehow this idea of having a balance of power between consumers and workers, even though everybody's both of those things, I mean 100 million people in America anywhere, both of those things, that through a strategy like that, you know, we could end up with businesses that were primarily functioning to be efficient to consumers and decent to employees.
Work in New York, New Jersey, Boise, Idaho, and Podunk, here that.
Yeah, well, insurance is insurance, and, you know, yeah, I don't know, Twinkies are Twinkies, and potato chips are potato chips, Podunk, Smodunk, New York, Smornark, who cares? Yeah, it's not brain surgery, right? Making a bag of potato chips ain't brain surgery. And, yeah, I say we can do it without stockholders and rich families and all the other people that need a big, giant payoff out of the fucking production of a potato chip. Yeah, I think we can do that.
Nowhere.
Go nowhere. So that's, yeah, wow, okay, that's a reasoned response. Gee, you sure defeated the argument there. No, you didn't.
The whole thing is basically nonsense.
Yeah, okay. Prove it with something like an argument. Oh, no, you never do that. Oh, okay. Yeah. And your theory is, nothing we can do, just get in your boat and row in the swamp and wait for the crocodile to eat you. Blah, 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 blah. Maybe you can do some Bitcoining on the internet and avoid taxes somehow. Even though most of your taxes are property taxes and can't really avoid those. Anyway.
If for no other reason, but for the fact, according to Gary, that people are arseholes. And
well, yeah, the point is we're all selfish bastards. And let's just admit it, and then say, okay, we all want to, we're all gonna, if nobody's looking, we're gonna cheat. If nobody's, if there's an accountability, we're just kind of scummy that way. We peek. We do this kind of shit. Alright? And we read diaries. We do all kinds of crap. We do it. Okay? And that's just the way we are. So let's just admit we suck and that we need good rules to play a good game. Because without good rules, we will fucking cheat. People will put cork in the bat. They will, because it's a fucking life or death struggle. They're going to cheat because the stakes are high. So let's admit we're cheaters and then force ourselves to play a good game. Fuck.
who are going to be the non-arseholes who are going to see to it the arseholes do what Gary thinks that they should do?
Oh, well, that was in the video, but you didn't watch the video. So, I have to repeat myself because you don't watch the videos that you comment on. But yeah, I think you can do it with a balance of power. So yes, we have a new division of government called CEO selection or whatever. You have categories of industries, and you have maybe 5 people that people elect every year, and those people appoint CEOs to these other companies, or they put them up for election and decide who needs to be replaced or who's not quite performing. And then you have an election and you get a new guy if we need a new guy because that guy sucks. Yeah, that's what we do. And the vote again would be split by some mechanism. 60-40, I don't know exactly what the vote would be split, but it'd be split between the employees of the company and the general public.
The whole thing really does not add up.
Or maybe even consumers. Maybe they could even give, like, you get to vote based on how many UPCs things you got from the product. Maybe if you're actually a customer, you vote.
The thing, since the end of the 2 world wars, we have got some more freedoms this side and had more restrictions this side.
I don't even know what that means. Well, we got rid of prohibition. Yeah, I don't know what that. I don't even know what that means. Sides, I don't know. Social side, we have more freedom. You can't get an abortion in this country unless you really work at it. Let's see what else. I do have the freedom to say the dirty words, so I guess that's good. But Google's watching everything I do, and the NSA and the Marshal Service, so that's bad. Cops have the freedom to throw a bag of cocaine on my porch and arrest me. They have the freedom to do it. The only thing I can hope is that I got them on my camera. Yeah.
And the question is coming up for the people of the Western world is, how much are we going to sacrifice to hold on to what we've got?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what do we got? We got, we're slaves to debt. So we don't got much except a huge giant bill past due. A big giant past due bill. And to, these rich shyster crooked bums who have been just accruing wealth for hundreds of years. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see any point in holding on to them. I don't see any point in holding on to the rich. They're of no use or value. Yeah. take their money and kick them the fuck out. Simple.
I think I'll start with a little statistic that I've used on the website before. That there is the 1% and the 99%, because you can draw.
Okay, let's just do that typical statistic line, right? Statistics, you know, you can pervert them any way you like. So he's going to use this 1% argument, saying, well, I'll then make the argument, and then I'll point out how, well, this is just kind of a 3-card Monty, the little, you know, walnut shell trick game you're playing with numbers.
The line 1% any way you like. But if you do draw the line at the 1%, obviously making for the other 99%, you must know, or I shall inform you that at any time, like now, there are 10% of the population of the United States, because this is where the figure was that I'm using. 10% of the population either has been in that 1% or will be in that 1%.
Alright, so what he didn't say though is that the 1% salary, the minimum to get into the 1%, is only $380,000. So whereas the common impulse for somebody is to say the top 1% have $1 million salaries, you know, they're making millions of dollars on their equities. No, that's the 0.01%. 1 in 1,000 people make $1 million a year. Not 1 in 100 people. It's 1 in 1,000 people. So that's where this number gets funky, is that obviously there's lots of professional people who in one given year can make $380,000. They could have a $200,000 salary and buy Apple stock and do very well. Something like that. They could inherit it or some other thing, and the next year they have a big increase in their equity. They could sell a property. Lots of ways you could have an income of $380,000 in 1 year. So he's trying to imply that there's all this upward mobility. And no, the same names own the universe. Rothschild, Kennedy, Rockefeller, Getty, all these the Walmart fortune. This is where the money comes from. Okay, the Arab oil families, the Mexican families, the Russian families. These are the 0.001% of the world that owns a huge chunk of our reality. An obscene chunk of reality. They control it. And somehow this guy thinks them controlling it is better than us trying to control it. If we try to control it, we suck. But if they try to control it, they invest for us, and they tell us what we need, which are things like Facebook and, you know, the Learning Channel that is about UFOs and ghosts. That we need more ghost shows and more UFO shows. We need more American Idol. We need more Fox News. This is what we need. This is what the rich are telling us we need. We can't figure it out for ourselves better than that. We need the rich to tell us what matters. Yeah. I mean, I do want to just say, fuck you. I really do. It's to play a game with that number, like I said. Why don't you just say the number out loud? $380,000 will get you in the top 1%. Obviously, again, a lot of people. Like there's fucking cops that do this. Cops in 1 year can make that much money because of the bullshit games they play. When we buy out we had to buy out the contract of a cop here. She made over $380,000 that year. So so it's just bullshit. You just, you know, there's fucking school teachers that do this in 1 year.
And this kind of gives you a better angle when you're thinking about things. Thinking about
defending the rich. That's all he's really doing. He's just defending the waste and squander and sick, sadistic judgment of the selfish, greedy motherfuckers. He thinks the selfish and greedy have better judgment than the sensible and rational who honestly want to do what's best and what's right.
How much people are going to stay in behind the status quo? And I'll repeat what I said in the opening video.
Yeah, well, see what he said in the opening video. Well, I'll go ahead, I'll let him say it. But yeah, this whole theory of his that somehow, you know, we're just going to put up with it, and then we're going to all want law and order, and that we're all going to. No, there's 300 million guns in the country now. You're not going back to the Okies, you know, of the Depression, you know, working for a peach a day and all that kind of crap. We already see what people will shoot each other over fucking nothing now. I just don't see how any vision of your law and order crap is going to work. Especially when most of the mercenaries you're going to have to hire to do your law and ordering will be law and ordering their own parents or their own brother or their own sister. And I just don't see that working. I don't see people going out and arresting their own family for the Nazi rich.
Which was very quick about the left and the right. The left and the right. The right are kind of sticky status quo people that don't want bigger government. And the left are the want bigger government.
Yeah, they don't want anything. Yes, that's right. They don't want anything because they can afford to buy it all themselves. That's right. So yes, they want no collectivism whatsoever. They don't need the efficiencies of mass production because they can afford to have some guy hand make it. Where the rest of us need the efficiencies of mass production. We need it to be cheap. The rich don't.
Do for people. The plain fact of the matter is that the way things are going with the vertical society, just take an example that the corporations really aren't paying taxes.
Well, see, I mean, this is another one of these subjects that where, you know, if we really just argued this one through, that maybe we could make an, you know, there could be some sort of argument that this isn't a very good example of the problem. Because corporate taxes theoretically aren't really going to be paid by the CEOs or the shareholders or any of these other profiteers. It's going to be paid by the customers. So if you increase taxes on corporations, the corporations will just pass the taxes on to the consumer, so it just becomes a consumption tax. So you're not taxing wealth or the theft of it. You know, it's not going to come out of the rich man's pocket. The corporate tax isn't going to come out of the CEO's salary. It's going to come out of the line worker's salary, or it's going to come out of the consumer's ass.
As much as maybe they should do. And they are paying their employees less than, again, they maybe should do. But
yeah, well, that was a throwaway line. Yeah, if they pay their employees more, then employees have power. Yeah, and they can create and generate demand, and some of that demand might be for something other than Fox News.
It's 2008. 2008 and 2009 was a huge tax gap, really gapped down. But since then, the authorities, the policymakers, have been able to put on different ideas for new taxes.
Yeah, I don't think you got that right either. Okay, yeah, the dip happened because there's a recession. The stock market fell. The stock market decides how much revenue comes into the federal government, because most of the taxes paid, the bottom 50% of income makers pay no federal income tax. Okay, they just don't. They pay withholding tax. They pay Social Security and the welfare stuff, healthcare stuff. But that's it. They don't pay federal income taxes. Income taxes are paid before by the rich. And if the rich make a lot of money in the stock market, then more of their income is taxed, their working income. Even though the capital gains tax is fixed and not very good, still, if the stock market doubles, obviously you're going to collect more revenues. So it wasn't any new taxes that solved the problem. The problem was solved because the Fed bought $4 trillion worth of commodities off the stock market and doubled the price of the stock market by doing that. Oh, and I mentioned the Fed didn't pay for any of it. Oh yeah, they didn't pay for it. And that stuff is going to have to get sold. So not only does QE have to stop, where the Fed stops buying crap, but guess what? They're going to have to sell crap. No one wants to talk about what happens to the stock market when they do that. What happens to revenues when they do that?
This has got back up to the level of 2007 and now beyond.
Yeah, and for no other reason than artificial stimulus to the stock market. They had to save the stock market because that was the only way to save the banks. And so the banks are now trying to unload all the crap, all the junk, and get somebody else to go bankrupt next time instead of them. But that's pretty much the strategy. I mean, if I was a rich man, I could certainly see the writing on the wall that equities aren't going to be up for long, because as soon as they have to start selling this crap, okay, it's going down hard. So yeah, it's a nice sucker's market. Buy high and sell low, because that's what's going to happen to you if you stay in that thing.
There will be a crunch whereby the people will not be able to afford to pay for the government that they want.
Yeah, well again, see, there's nothing we can't pay for. What we can't do is finance the debt. So it's just the IOUs. The economy can work, the government can work, everything can work just fine, but it can't work with this huge IOU liability sitting over everybody's head. So if you just do the debt jubilee thing, just say screw the rich, everything, the potato chip companies can still run, everything can still just run. We don't need the rich. We just buy the potato chip companies, okay? We bankrupt the rich. The potato chip company will probably sell for $15, and we can run it. The government can buy it and run it. No big deal.
And the government will have to...
I mean, I was being a little facetious about that, but I'm just saying, it's just the debt that's in the way here. The debt is the thing that's going to make life unsustainable, and it's going to make it impossible for people to finance their life.
To appreciate the situation that it's in and cease and desist from squeezing the people, because there will be the inevitable squeezing.
Well, yeah, again, the inevitable squeezing of who, for what purpose, blah, 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 blah. And certainly there is some efficiency that has to be acknowledged here, that what's basically happening is the rich are gleaning huge profits off the exploitation of the foreign labor, and the foreign labor is employed selling to the debt makers, the credit card holders of the American people and the British people and all the other people who have a huge amount of debt. And yeah, their credit cards are full. They can't take on more debt. They can't do the consuming that they used to do because their wages are going down. So that's going to spiral, and eventually the rich aren't going to be able to get rich off the Chinese anymore. But I guess as long as the Fed's willing to buy all of the old debt, it'll all be okay, because they can just keep making the stock market go up. And then the rich will stay rich. Yeah. I mean, it's just silly. Yeah, it's all going to fall apart, that's right. $7 trillion in deposits insured with $30 billion of a trust fund. Yeah, let's just say, I just imagine how far $30 billion is going to take you in a crisis when you have $7 trillion in assets insured.
The people by the...
Yeah, I'm pretty certain they're going to be printing some cash. Looks like there's just no hope but to start printing some cash.
globalization, big business, general pooling of labour on the earth, on the globe, and wages are being Pac-Man from the bottom coming down.
Yeah, well, they're being Pac-Man from the bottom coming down because, yeah, the world economy has now made it possible to go find the desperatest people on earth and force them to do the work. Allow them to do the work. So if you can't build the company in their country, you just import them into your country, okay, to do the labor for desperation wages, to work 60 or 70 hours a week, have no life, be miserable, and die. And we're doing okay since the war, in your opinion. Yeah, right.
There'll be less money to be able to pay taxes.
Well, yeah, you gotta understand, there's all these different kinds of taxes. So again, property taxes, income taxes, sales taxes, then you got all the fees, you know. So you really have to be a little careful about saying a word like it's a generic thing. It's different kinds of tax.
Government will have to thin itself down and think of excuses and ways that it can do this with dignity.
Yeah, and that works how? Okay, more unemployment. Oh, so right in the middle of a depression, we should have more unemployment. Yeah, no, I think Roosevelt had it right, you know. Time to more employment. Yeah. Just make a new currency. Make a new currency and only pay it to people who work.
I think is to say that I get the idea that the last thing government is going to give up is law and order. Law and order is going to be its last, Custer's last stand.
Yeah, well, again, we don't even have law and order in a lot of respects, but yeah, I just don't buy the argument that things haven't changed and that people are just going to go, oh, gee, we sure didn't see that coming. Yeah, I just don't see that happening. Yeah, I think it's going to get out of hand. Yeah, and you know, you can envision all kinds of. It just depends on what kind of revolutionaries show up, right? What kind of leader shows up? What kind of, you know, whether he has his gun belt and is ready for the fight, kind of thing, or whether it's more strategic, or Martin Luther King-ish, or Malcolm X-ish, or some other kind of ish-ish. But yeah, I just don't see the system being able to sustain itself.
And the people will always be willing to pay for the law and order.
Yeah, whatever. They're going to want to pay for food. They're going to want to take food from the rich, because the rich aren't going to feed people if they can't make a profit. So the government's going to have to step in and say, fuck you, grow food. And the rich ain't going to want to give people electricity when they can't pay their electricity bill. And the government's going to have to step in and say, fuck you, make electricity. So the rich are pretty much going to ask the federal, they're going to sit there and basically invite the government to become the people's government and say, fuck you, you're going to produce electricity. If people can't pay you now, too bad, produce it. That's going to be the reality, because we're not going to let New York City fall apart because rich people can't make a profit. Yeah, we're not going to do that. I don't think. I don't think the sensible, average, common man is going to let the infrastructure of the United States of America fall apart because rich people can't make enough money on the deal. Yeah. No, I think they're going to figure out we don't need those motherfucking rich. So anyway. Yeah, the rest of his video is just blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so I'll just do it to him. I did watch it. It's somehow he's on this internet barter thing is somehow a solution. I don't know how that's going to pay my property tax. I mean, how do I avoid property taxes by bartering on the internet? I don't think I do. So I don't think that's going to work. Yeah. What do you do with this electronic money again? So you're going to have to use Bitcoin, and so the government's never going to know how much is in your Bitcoin account, and it's never going to know how much money you're making, and it's never going to be able to find you and say you didn't pay your taxes. I just don't find that realistic. And I just don't see how saving that minor amount of money for the common man who isn't paying income taxes to the federal government is somehow going to save the nation. That I don't understand either. So anyway, yeah, too many moving parts in this conversation. You dismissed as nonsense the idea that there is a thoughtful, Einstein style, like, let's make a good game. What's the game made of? Let's figure out good borders, foul pole, umpire. Yeah, that it can be constructed to function very well. And it just takes a little bit of engineering. Yeah, but you say it's nonsense. Engineers are nonsense. Whatever. I think it's very doable. And I think it's nonsense to glibly fluff it off because you're glued to the duality of the worker versus the rich fuck, and saying there's nothing in between. We must have capitalism because it's the only thing that's free, and everything else is gulags. And that's pretty much all you're saying. Fuck. I mean, you still don't understand that it's a waste of work when people spend hundreds of thousands of hours working on a yacht so 7 people can enjoy it, when you could have taken those hundreds of thousands of hours and built a dam, and it could have served thousands of people. That work is all of ours. We collectively produce stuff. And if any of us are doing waste work, we all are doing waste work, essentially. It devalues all labor. You're just not getting it. We all could be working half as much for 3 times as much money. That's the reality. If we didn't have to feed the rich. The rich are very, very, very expensive. Anyway. And especially the lying style rich. The ones who don't want an honest business. They want to just write fine print everywhere. So anyway, disappointed that we can't have a conversation because you say I'm a bad person and I say you're a hypocrite because, yeah, I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything you're not doing. I think you're just evading the argument. Pretty much. Because, yeah, it's too much work. It's too much work to really dissect it. Take each piece and analyze it. It's just much easier to do your little pigeonhole-y thing. Commie, freedom lover. Yeah. Necessary waste, horrible controlling waste. Yeah. 10% of the people get to the 1%. Even though that's sort of a lie, because it's the top 1 in 1,000. It's the 1,000th percent that have all the money. And 10% of the people don't get there. So, that's it. Yeah, I wish you had somebody else to talk to, and I wish I had somebody else to talk to. I wish there was some way we could have conversations on the internet that could actually go somewhere, because we had some sort of common understanding of how to use vocabulary and how to analyze concepts and how to parse the conversation, to segment it. Let's do the premises first, and then we'll deal with this secondary notion, and then we'll do the theories and the hypotheses. But no such luck. So anyway, yeah, they did say some funny things here in the comments. I think that because the economy has been mainly good since World Wars, yeah, so the economy's been mainly good. Yeah, I mean, it's just an arbitrary statement. I guess it's really great if you don't have a shitty job that basically drives you to blow your brains out, like, you know, too many people do a year. Anyway, I love this line. If you can't grow vegetables, grow friends. Hello. I don't know. Friends are worth what? Friends just get cancer and die. Yeah, I mean, friends, and then what? You know, and then they want $10. They want to borrow $10. Yeah, whatever. I mean, I'm not against friends, but I mean, it's pretty hard to have a friend that you can actually do any business with. You know, that does anything for you. You know, I mean, this just got some side boob or something. Yeah, it's hard to see the purpose sometimes. Here we go. As you say, fear is embedded real deep. I guess we'll just have to live with it. See, that's his basic mantra. Just get along, just squeak by, just do my thing, just worry about my business, blah, 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 blah. And so he's going to help people play hopscotch because they're playing hopscotch wrong. And, well, that's just great. But yeah, sorry. I sense that it's falling short of useful potential. Anyway, until next time. He looks like he's lamenting also. Lament.